Hello, welcome to the Blabberize podcast, where we talk about Blabberize, the site that makes pictures talk. We're going to be talking about various things like education and media creation as teaching tools. I'm your host, Mo Kakwan, one of the three founders of the site. I'm here with Kimi,
Hi, Kimi. I am the newest member of the Blabberize team.
and we're going to go through kind of how we became an edu-centric site and how we're hoping to kind of cater to those teachers. Honestly, we don't really have a real format for this. It was going to be us conversing about the site, things that we think you can do with it, things that we're doing to cater to our community, and just hopefully tell you some interesting stuff about how to use Blabberize and kind of the history of all this stuff. So where should we start, Kimmy? Should we start with how we got to EDU users, or like the history of the site a little bit?
Yeah, kind of how it took off
Yeah.
in the
So
academic world.
Blabberize has been around for over 10 years now, and it has like old roots, like old roots in basically at a hackathon at Yahoo. And like if you're young, you probably don't know Yahoo as a website, but Yahoo used to be the Google of the day, and
It's still in Japan. It still is. It's like humongous here. It's
it's
like the go-to website in Japan.
it's the go-to website in Japan.
Yeah, it's like weirdly humongous here.
Are
But
there
yeah, anyway.
but are there better results than Google on Yahoo?
No, and that's the thing too. It's like you don't just go there for like, mail or just go there for searches. It's like everything. They've packed everything into the website. Like I encourage you to go to yahoo.co.jp and just look at the massive overload of information there. It's insane.
That's interesting. Okay, so back when Yahoo was big here in the United States, and before it blew up in Japan only, they had this hackathon where they basically called everyone out. And Yahoo used to have all these APIs that they opened up to developers. And I went down there when I was living in California with no idea of a project that I wanted to do, and decided to hack on this idea of being able to make talking postcards.
My name is Mo Kakwan, and I'm a little nervous because I've just seen 40 presentations go in front of me, and I've just realized how crazy my project is. So we'll go ahead with that. I think I need to tell you guys kind of what mindset I'm in when I started this, before you guys actually see what I've done. I came in with ideas of grandeur and amazing things. And I didn't have a group, and I came here and I met like a couple guys who were amazing, and they were really cool, and they were like, yeah, we can do it. And so at 2 a.m. we gave each other high fives, and we said, we're going to make the best hack ever. And it worked really well until about 4 a.m. And they said, hey, one of them said, I'm going to go home because I'm really tired, but I'll be back in the morning. And I was like, you do that, dude. And I gave him a high five, and he left. And then I was coding away, and I blinked. But this blink ended up being 2 hours long. And I woke up at around 6 a.m., and my partner wasn't there. And neither was the other partner. And so I was freaking out a little. So I didn't know what to do really, and I just had images of Beck in my head and the puppets. And for some reason, oh, I'm sorry, Patrick Stewart. So I decided to make something to console myself. So I made Patrick Stewart, who's pulled off my Flickr page. And when, hey, you're amazing. You should get the free TV. Thanks, Patrick Stewart. Make it so. And the amazing thing about this is you can actually change where his face is. So you click here, you click here. Oh, I changed it. Wow, Patrick Stewart, you seem so much better now. So, thank you so much, Yahoo, for making this possible. And thank you, Patrick Stewart. it's, oh, whoa, I can do it. It's the amplitude of my voice. Hey! It's amazing. It's like magic, but it's not. It's not. It's just flash.
And it became like this weird cult sort of hit, especially with like Yahoo employees. Like a lot of the Yahoo employees kind of like knew it all the way through. Like I've even met old Yahoo employees. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I remember Blabberize." And so after that, we took the idea and tried to complete it and make it into a product. And we put it out, and this is back like in the 2007 like tech boom where everyone was making like MySpace widgets and stuff. And we had like this enormous amount of traction with just people just randomly using it, and we weren't making like any money. We were losing all of our basic money on server costs, and we didn't have like users who were effectively coming to the site finding value from it. Um, and what ended up happening was over time, as we kind of like ironed out bugs and reduced our costs, teachers and educators started finding use in bringing Blabberize into the classroom and having their students making talking pictures. And we were just slowly catering to more of the educational users who were coming onto the site, building the site with features that made sense for them. Fast forward to this, so the site launched in I think 2007, and we launched Blabberize EDU after years and years of it being basically just public and open. Teachers would just log in. We launched our EDU in 2020, the EDU site, and that has taken off like crazy too. There's like thousands of teachers who are using it in hundreds of schools, and yeah, it's become like a real core of our site and a really wonderful user base. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy because I wasn't with Blabberize way back in the early days, but kind of as I was familiarizing myself with it, like just Googling Blabberize and seeing it come up in like research papers and tech articles about like useful tools to have in the classroom and stuff. It's like, it's yeah, amazing that it started out as like kind of a goofy hackathon idea. Um, but yeah, and so like even looking at main site Blabberize, even up through today, there's like a bunch of people who you can tell are like using it with their classrooms. Like you've got one user that's making like 30 blabbers all at once, and like they're all like really cute, or like really interesting, like sea turtle presentations or like historical figures or whatever. And so like it's awesome to see it like that. But I guess we felt like that it's probably a little bit of a cumbersome way to use it as well, like having to share around your password with all your students and all that stuff. So I
Yeah.
think that was also part of the like motivation for wanting to build something
Right. So
specific.
what teachers were doing was they were logging onto the site. They'd have a classroom of like 30 students, and they initially were all sharing a single login. And this was back before like I think all students had their own email addresses. Now it's like it's ubiquitous, right? And so they would all log in. They'd all be using it under a single account, and that made sense for a while. But then eventually that like laws changed. Basically, it became that there were student privacy sort of issues, and all the students have their own logins. So logging into a single account no longer made sense. The students had ownership and stuff. So teachers were asking, I've got all my students logging in now, and one of the students would forget their password, or they needed to get access to their account to see what they've made. And we're like, well, this is an independent user from our side. We don't recognize you as the teacher or the guardian of this student. The only person that we can give access is the person who owns that email. And so with enough of these problems kind of coming up, we went forward with giving more control to the teachers, basically building an entire site where the teachers can make student accounts and log in and be able to see what their students are doing and control what's being seen. And also the site has like grew quite a bit from the main site where everyone would make stuff and it would just shows up on the public browse page. And the browse page is crawled by Google. Google comes to our site, goes across it, and it pulls up all the sea turtles and historical figures and even the pictures that kids will put up of themselves speaking. And that is like a huge privacy sort of problem that I don't think like many people understand. um, that is open. Anything you put on the internet that is publicly reachable, Google will find it, and Google will maintain it there. And it's extremely difficult to get Google to remove it. You can remove the existing content, and that'll probably break the link. But if you lose your account or lose access to control of that page, you lose your ability to effectively like remove that from Google's index. And like if you do something with your name in it for years, you're gonna it might be the first search result that comes up. You might be like 10 years later and you're working at a company and now people are seeing you as a turtle on Blabberize. And so and this isn't something that like is like hasn't happened before. Literally, we've had people saying like I used Blabberize when I was in like high school, and now I'm a professional, and this is showing up above my CV and my LinkedIn page. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's we've had to remove stuff and take care of people, but that's largely the reason why we built EDU.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a huge focus on protecting people's privacy, especially kids. And I think largely, finally, tech companies in general are kind of being forced to move in that direction. But I mean, for us, like we've got like backgrounds with family and education. Like I'm a mom myself. Like I, for us, it's not negotiable. We don't want to put kids, at any risk at all. And so on main site we've got, it's kind of an open ecosystem even just within Blabberize. So you've got your regular users mixing in with academic users, and so on that browse page, if you go in as a student, you're seeing any blabbers that anyone is making, and so far we haven't had a ton of problems with that or anything, but just having that ecosystem kind of be open, like that was also something that we wanted to steer away from. um, Ads as well. We wanted to provide um, a space where we don't display ads. Ads are never displayed to kids, and you've got your own school that you're basically siloed in, so that the content that you're seeing is only content within your school or your classroom, or however your teacher has administered it. So
I think it's
just
also
giving that.
Oh, sorry. I was like, I
No,
think
no.
it's also good to differentiate the main site and EDU site, where we're talking about this like pretty freewheeling. But the EDU site is edu.blabberize.com. The main site is just blabberize.com.
Mhm.
And we, because we started out as a site that wasn't EDU focused, we had to create this new subdomain that is separate. And so logins created for the EDU website don't work on the main site, and logins that work on the main site don't work on the EDU site. And so when we talk about main site, we're just talking about blabberize.com, the one that's free and available for everyone to use. And EDU features and like EDU access is only relegated to the EDU submain, edu.blabberize.com. Well, we should probably talk about like uh, teachers and kind of like the projects that they've done that we found really interesting or cool. Um, if you come to blabberize.com, one of the fun things to do is you go to the browse page and you can search. And there's 10 years worth of blabbers in there. So you can literally search for just about anything and find stuff. And I think it's really fun. I was reading like autobiographies of like Walt Disney, and I came to Blabberize EDU and I or blabberize.com, and I went to the browse page and I searched for Walt Disney, and I found all these like historical figures of Walt Disney basically talking about himself like, "Oh, I made Mickey Mouse and Disney World was my last big thing, but I didn't get to see it." And so it's like it's just one of those really fun things. Like you can search for literally anything. Um and it's all there. It's yeah, Kimmy, what are you actually like looking for on the site?
Like, so we see a lot of like second language learning kind of
Yeah.
examples. So like, and I can attest this is really hard and embarrassing to learn a second language sometimes, like putting yourself out there and like speaking in a language you're not comfortable with. But I think like having that front of, having it be a picture that's talking makes it a little bit easier to give a speech in Spanish or French or whatever it is that you're learning. So I like watching those things, like just as a bit of like a personal background thing. I live in Japan, and so I'm kind of surrounded by people who are like interested in learning English. So, and I've got young kids, so a bunch of their friends would get together, and I would run a like English club where we would just do really simple exercises in English and stuff like that. So this whole idea of using Blabberize as a foreign language learning tool really interests me as well. And yeah, I'm like brainstorming a bunch of content and stuff to put together kind of Japanese English bilingual kind of stuff that I can do, because that's kind of the avenue that I want to play around with a bit more.
It's pretty crazy to see the compositions in foreign languages always on the site too. Basically, yeah, that is like a huge use that I've seen as well. Um, I think it also is like a wonderful thing. I had a teacher who wrote to me and said that she had a neurodivergent student who was very shy, and the classroom was all having to do presentations where they were speaking out in front of everyone. And for him, it was like he was unable to. It was just basically he was paralyzed by it. But by using a blabber to speak up for himself, he was able to record himself, create a piece of content that was his own, and he was able to stand up on like in front of everyone and basically play and have his voice heard. And so it is a very powerful sort of thing, and it's kind of amazing to hear that like it's being used and giving kids voices, especially when we create it with like this really sort of like funny and goofy use case, and then to like see it used for these really impactful things is a big deal. It means a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even outside like the educational ones too, just seeing people like talk about their pets and stuff. Like there are a number of blabbers that are like really heartfelt ones about pets and family members and stuff. And yeah, just for some reason giving people that medium to express things, you get some really, really genuine, amazing
Are you
output.
are you thinking specifically of that one, the lady that sent us the dog one? Oh my God. Okay, so
Yeah.
like the site's been around for a while, and we found a user who emailed us and said, "I don't remember my login, but I created a video of my dog talking." And I was like, there's like literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of them on the site of like dogs talking. And so I said, "Why are you looking for this particular thing?" She says, "The he's he's not he's been with us for a long time. He's not doing well, and it's like basically they just wanted to remember the good times of when he was younger." It was like, oh, it was so painful. And so we combed through the database. She gave us some clues. We ended up finding the blabber and sending it off to her. But it was like it was gut wrenching. Like this person is now at the end of life of like their best friend, and this was the memory that they came back to. Like our site was that use case. And of course, like we don't expect any like a lot of people to be using it like that, but it hit us. Like it basically like I think it hit us harder because we don't expect people to use it like this, right? It's like you're making a flapping mouth on a picture, and people were literally making life memories with this that they were reflecting upon. So it's something else. I mean, like the more lighthearted ones, which I think I enjoy, are best men at like weddings will usually do one of the groom. Yeah, that's like yeah, that's really
I
so.
don't think I've seen
Basically,
any of those.
they're usually under like so you can always on any blabber you make you can click mature, and those are generally behind the mature one. And so they don't make those public for a reason. It's why you're not gonna probably run into them. Uh, yeah, so I've seen a couple of those which are really fun, but that's kind of like more of the use that I would have expected. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is a good place to stop for the first podcast. We brought some things. We're really excited to do more of these. If you guys have any topics or ideas that you want to talk about, we're very active on the Twitter, and you can email either of us, mo@blabberize.com or Kimi@blabberize.com. We'd love to hear anything that you want to hear us talk about, or even if you'd like to come on the show and talk about how you've used Blabberize. we'd be so excited. That'd be wonderful. Yeah, looking forward to making more of these.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited.
Bye.